Welcome to this little demo video about the new support of body tracking features. So basically what I'm doing here is I've added support for the official body tracking extensions in OpenXR. These body tracking extensions are actually taking your body and represent them as a bone skeletal structure to the VR environment. So in this case, I've got a Quest 3 on my head, and this Quest is just using cameras to monitor your hands and a little bit of your body and tries to estimate what bone structure you have, how your virtual bones are aligned. So what DEMoCap is then doing is it takes these bones and simulates trackers as if you would be wearing these trackers in the real world. From this point onwards, it's the very same as if you would be working with trackers. So let's have a look how this would present itself. Let's take this one here. I'm going to show exactly what's going to happen next. So let's calibrate. So, and this is, so you see where the generated trackers are, which the Quest, or which are based on the skeleton that Quest provides, and what the body ends up with. So let's take them away. So, as you can see, Quest is, well, it can only do certain things while estimating your body because it only can see your hands. This is what the hand tracking provides. I've already shown this in an earlier video. But from the lower body on side, it just has to guess because it doesn't see. So pretty much it simulates certain kind of movement just by looking what your headset is doing and then, well, trying to figure out a little bit of motion which matches to this. This is of course not a perfect capturing of what you're doing, but this kind of upper body capturing with all kind of stuff for which you usually need extra trackers is usually good enough if you want to do some kind of motion capture which is only based on the upper part of the body, like a little bit to the waist or maybe a little bit lower. This kind of motion you can then easily capture if you want to quickly do something and you do not want to take the full way of using the trackers. So that's what you can do just with the headset. No additional trackers. No controllers in hand, just hand, headset, and you can already do quite a few things. Of course, this has some dead spots. Of course, everything the camera cannot see. So if you move on the back, then of course it has no cameras to see it. And towards upside, there's also a dead spot, which the device cannot figure out well. But if you stay inside a certain range, this works. Even if you move back and turn a little bit, to some degree, this works as long as it can see your cameras. So there are also a couple of things I want to show. First, to use it properly, I've added here a Quest 3 actor. So why is this? Simply put, if you would using trackers, then you would just enter your body structure or your measurements of your body or the actor which is performing, and this is correct. But since the Quest only knows your headset position and can see a little bit of your hands, it doesn't know what your body structure is, which means Quest generates a body structure. And on the wiki for DEMoCap, I've put an article, a page where you can see how you best work with a Quest 3 for this kind of capturing, and there is outlined how you can calculate these values. Pretty much you just need to measure your height, and with this height you can then calculate these 5 values here, and then you get a better fit, because then it takes the skeleton off the Quest, not your own, to do the fitting. And this works a lot better than if you try to use your own body measurements. So there are two things I wanted to show, since they are a little bit peculiar. So that's okay. So far so good. I have used this correction for the last time where I showed finger capturing of the Quest. So here now the same. The Quest can also track your elbows. So elbow movement is also to some degree working, because it can take your trackers. And interestingly, while you can turn your body yourself and get a certain kind of body motion, there's an interesting side effect. So if you take like your hands and you move them forward and backward without moving your body, you will see that the Quest is doing some body motion in the chest, although you do not move your chest. Same if you go up and down, it has some motion which you cannot see here because the up-down motion is not used. I will show you something more. So this gives you some extra motions even if you don't move your chest, but makes a character a little bit more lively without doing much. As long as you stay in this upper section, everything works. Technically, everything on the downside is generated by the Quest itself, so certain things look a bit strange. So for example, if you sit down, it will start to simulate, well, some kind of movement. And you also see if you move the hands forth and back, yeah, it's a little bit strange, but it could work for certain things. But I would say for typical capture stuff, staying at the upper body is what you usually need. Like if you have a portrait shot of a character, you make like a hosting character which explains something to a player and sits on the bottom of the screen, then this is usually enough to get across what you need. So what have we now also as examples? So it also works if you have characters with special setups, long necks, so the entire movement of the arms works too. Especially also movement like walking, that works to some degree if you need it or you don't need it. That depends on your setup, how you want to do this. So this works, and you here have the same with moving your hands forth and back, that it moves the chest. But with the long neck characters, there's a little bit something you have to pay attention. If you move forth and back, it will not only turn the chest, but it can also make a little bit of movement in your head. You notice if you go up and down, you will see that the head starts moving left and right, although you do not move. So this can be a bit tricky. In this character is not that extreme. In other characters, it can be a little bit more extreme than this. So this guy down here is a little bit more extreme. So you can see that you get movement in your head, although you do nothing. And this up down, it even can start tilting, although you do nothing. That's just because of the way of how the Quest is handling things. So, and the last thing, this guy here, come on. So that's the most extreme case, but even this does work to some extent. You will see that you will have a lot of problems with the arm stuff like this, so you will find characters where this kind of body tracking system can cause a bit of problems, so you have to see and tweak a little bit the configuration of the character. But in general, it should be working. And yeah, it's not working that wrong, depending on what you want to do, but it certainly does work. So yeah, you can do various things, and if it's not too much or too important what the legs are doing, it works. So if you're just moving by, well, that certainly works with that kind of stuff. So yep, even this kind of character you can do with full body tracking of a quest and using a DEMoCap, well, to do a little bit of artistic creativity or taking a shortcut without needing to put on the trackers all the time. So with that, have a nice time.